Look, let's be clear. The United States has a bit of a problem. And when I say a bit of a problem, I mean a deeply ingrained, systemically entrenched, frankly horrifying problem when it comes to police brutality. For the past 15 years, we've seen tragedy after tragedy, incident after incident, hashtag after hashtag, all stemming from the very people sworn to protect us. It's enough to make you wonder if anyone bothered to tell them that protect and serve wasn't actually a buffet where you get to pick one. Today we're going on a deeply uncomfortable but necessary journey. We're going to revisit some of the names that have become tragically synonymous with this issue. Names seared into our collective consciousness. Names that should have never had to become hashtags in the first place. Because if we're being honest, forgetting their names, their stories, is exactly what allows this cycle to continue. So, buckle up, America, because we're about to dive headfirst into a national crisis. It was a video seen around the world. A police officer, Derek Chauvin, kneeling on George Floyd's neck for an agonizing 9 minutes and 29 seconds. 9 minutes and 29 seconds that shook the world, sparking outrage, protests, and a long overdue reckoning with systemic racism and police brutality in America. It shouldn't take a snuff film going viral to make people care about a life lost. But George Floyd's death became a horrifying symbol of a broken system. Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old EMT, was asleep in her own home when police officers, executing a no-knock warrant, burst in, firing shots that ultimately took her life. The tragic irony? The suspect police were looking for was already in custody. Breonna Taylor's death became a rallying cry against no-knock warrants, highlighting the deadly consequences of aggressive police tactics, particularly in Black and brown communities. Eric Garner's dying words, "I can't breathe," became a haunting echo across the nation. He was placed in a chokehold by a New York City police officer over the alleged selling of loose cigarettes. Eric Garner's death, captured on video, ignited protests and sparked a national conversation about excessive force and the over-policing of Black communities. Michael Brown, an unarmed Black teenager, was shot and killed by a white police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. His death, and the lack of an indictment against the officer, sparked weeks of protests and unrest. The phrase "hands up, don't shoot" became a rallying cry for the Black Lives Matter movement, drawing attention to the issue of racial profiling and police brutality against unarmed Black men. Tamir Rice was just 12 years old when he was shot and killed by police in a Cleveland park. He was playing with a toy gun, and officers fired on him within seconds of arriving on the scene. The tragic death of Tamir Rice, a child gunned down while playing, sparked national outrage and highlighted the devastating consequences of implicit bias and the need for police reform. Philando Castile was shot and killed by a police officer during a traffic stop in Minnesota. His girlfriend, Diamond Reynolds, live-streamed the aftermath on Facebook, capturing the fear, confusion, and grief of the situation. Castile's death, another tragic example of a Black man killed by police during a routine traffic stop, further fueled the debate over racial profiling and excessive force. Freddie Gray suffered a fatal spinal cord injury while being transported in a police van in Baltimore. His death, ruled a homicide, sparked protests and riots, highlighting the lack of accountability for police misconduct. The circumstances surrounding Gray's death, and the lack of adequate medical attention he received while in police custody, exposed the systemic failures within the justice system. Sandra Bland was found dead in a Texas jail cell 3 days after being arrested during a controversial traffic stop. Her death, ruled a suicide, raised serious concerns about the treatment of Black women by law enforcement and the criminal justice system. Bland's case sparked national outrage and fueled the movement for police accountability and reform, particularly regarding the treatment of people of color in police custody. Alton Sterling was shot and killed by police officers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, while selling CDs outside a convenience store. The shooting, captured on video, sparked protests and renewed calls for justice. Sterling's death, another tragic example of a black man killed by police for a minor offense, further highlighted the need for police reform and accountability. Walter Scott was shot in the back and killed by a police officer in North Charleston, South Carolina, while running away after a traffic stop. The shooting, captured on video by a bystander, sparked national outrage and led to the officer's arrest and conviction. Scott's death, a stark example of the use of deadly force against an unarmed black man, underscored the need for police accountability and transparency. These names are just a few among many. We've barely scratched the surface of a wound that runs deep in this nation. Each name represents a life cut short, a family shattered, and a community left grappling with grief and anger. It's time for us to take action and ensure that justice is served. Justice for George Floyd, for Breonna Taylor, for Eric Garner, for Michael Brown, for Tamir Rice, for Philando Castile, for Freddie Gray, for Sandra Bland, for Alton Sterling, for Walter Scott, and for all the countless others whose names we may never know. Remember their names, say their names, and let's work together for a better future. A future where Black lives are valued, protected, and no longer treated as disposable.